Alright, so I'm going to be doing somewhat of a real world 100% charge test. And the reason why it's real world is because usually people will do this range test when they're doing like a long road trip or something. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just not, basically not plug it in and just drive it like a normal daily thing. People don't drive road trips daily. So what I'm going to do is just do my normal drive and leave it overnight, do the drive again. So that means it's going to get a lot of like vampire drain and all of that from, let me park, from like Sentry mode and stuff being on. So that way you can see, I believe Sentry mode uses like 3 to 5% a day. So we'll take a look at that as well. Anyways, we're gonna start driving. We have 100%, so that means we're gonna have like 0 regen. I also have to wait for this to defrost, so that's gonna use power as well. And yeah, this is gonna be a real world test now. Okay, so let me wait for this to defrost and I'll be back. Okay, so first thing to take note of, defogging takes a very long time. You see it's 5:25. I started this around 5:23. It's been more than 2 minutes. So let's put it into defrosting mode instead of defogging. So basically you tap it twice, then it goes like a heated mode, and that should make it go faster. So if you're trying to leave early in the morning, you might want to do that from your app. Just put it into that defrosting. That way, if you get up and you just want to leave soon, you need to do stuff around the house, you're going to want to push the defogging mode from the app. And if you're not sure how to do that, they have like the climate controls and stuff. You would do that. Through the camera, it's a little bit clearer, but if I were to drive like this, it's super dangerous. It's pretty foggy looking, very hazy. So, yeah. Anyways, we're using defogging. It's going to heat up, so it's going to use even more power. And it's still showing 100%. And I guess this will somewhat warm up the batteries too for when you're about to leave. And if you're at 100%, usually you don't want to charge to 100%. You'll want to charge to 80. But this is going to be kind of a test if you did charge to 100. Okay. If you're just charging to 80, then you can kind of see when I'm driving and it's at 80%, and then keep that in mind. Okay. So you can see it still takes quite a while to defog or defrost. It's now 5:26, and yeah, I can't see. Let's see, and wiping it, it's inside. The reason why all this fog is actually inside the car is because I was sleeping in here while I was charging it. So that might be a different situation. You're not going to have so much fog inside. Usually you'll have condensation on the outside, but we'll do this test as well. Another thing to take note of, if it's raining and stuff and the weather's like humid, you do want to turn on the defogging right away, because as you can see, it takes a long time. And if you turn on the defogging in the middle of your drive, like if you notice it starts getting foggy and then you turn that defogging on, what I noticed is it fogs up the whole thing even more before it clears it up. So that's another thing to take note of. You want to push the defog even though it's not even foggy yet, okay? If it's like cold or condensation, or I mean not condensation, or humid, okay? So keep that in mind, cold or humid, turn on the defogging whether you're going to use it or not, because if it starts getting foggy and you press that button, the whole thing is just going to and you're going to not be able to see. I did that like a couple times, and yeah, it's pretty dangerous, so keep that in mind. The other thing is this, if you have Sentry mode on, it stays like heated or something, so there's always like a clear patch up here. So yeah, I mean, worst case, if you really needed to, you could turn on the camera and you can use like the front camera and drive with that, but yeah, I don't recommend it. But it's possible to use this front camera if you're like blind here. Okay, so it's about to where I can kind of see through it, but you can see that took a long time, like more than 5 minutes, but it's still a bit cloudy. Anyways, let's go ahead and start. You can see I pushed the brake. I told it to auto pick the gear, and let's just start going. Okay, I'm gonna have to proceed slowly because again, I don't have the regen anymore since it's 100% charged. So very likely, if I let go of the pedal while I'm moving, it's not gonna slow down much. Actually, let me see here. Did I leave that? Dynamics. Okay, I didn't turn on, so it doesn't auto apply the brakes because I turned that off. If you want that feature on, you can turn that on. But anyways, let's go. Okay, and it's still a bit foggy up there, so yeah, very important to start the defogging or defogging, or what's the other one? Defrosting, yeah. It's important to start that early. So I don't need it to be warm anymore, so I'm just going to put defogging. And that will maintain the like clearness. But yeah, here you can see it's still foggy up there. Okay. Alright. Oh, did I leave a window open a little bit? I'm just gonna show like the since last charge stuff because probably nobody's gonna want to watch me just driving. But yeah, you can see the fog is still there in that corner, so it takes quite a while to clear up that stuff. So again, it's very important that you start that early. Look, it's getting close to 10 minutes that it's been. Okay, and even at 100%, it still has decent regen. Huh. Interesting. You do see those little dots towards the bottom. That's the regen power that's missing. So when you have those little dots at the bottom of that line, that's basically how much less regen that you have. Okay, I'm gonna have to do some recording at higher speeds. The regen, I feel, is still pretty decent, honestly, for being at 100%. With the Model Y, when I had 100%, the regen is like really bad. But it could be also this, I'm going more of a straight path. Usually when I leave my house, it's somewhat like downhill. So it's a little more noticeable that you have less regen. But here we only have, what, 4 dots at the bottom of that line? So it's not bad. And yeah, that fog in that corner, it's not going away. It's taking forever. It's going to be 10 minutes real soon. So yeah, the defogging thing, very important. If you're going to be having a humid environment, turn it on. Make sure to turn it on right away. And even sit there a little bit just to make sure it doesn't fog up the thing after it initially like blows the air. Let me see. It's not circulating, right? It should know not to circulate. It's on auto. So, I don't know. Usually when you're defogging, you want it to pull in outside air. So I don't know if it auto knows. It should auto know to pull outside air when you're defogging. Alright. Okay. It's basically going to be about 10 minutes. So yeah, if you want it to be almost completely clear, you're going to have to let it sit for, oh no, at least almost 10 minutes. If not, a little bit more. Okay. And there we go. Yeah, there's still a little bit of that little cloud up there. Alright, you can see here, we're getting 400 something, 500 watt hours per mile. That's including with the heating use and everything, so defogging, defrosting, and we'll see when we do the rest of our trip. Not really a trip, but the rest of our commute or drive. Okay. But yeah, to defog, it takes some time. Make sure to keep that in mind. You don't want to start your drive and then all of a sudden you're blind right away. So, yeah. Still got the 4 dots down there. Still showing 100% battery. Okay, drove about 1 mile. Yeah, that one little corner patch, I don't know. It's like, also I can't feel the wind blowing in it. So one other thing you can do is you just get a cloth and then you just wipe it down, the fog, to speed it up. The only thing is it'll make like smudgy lines everywhere. So yeah, usually I prefer not to wipe it with something because then you get those like smudges all over it. Okay, still at 100%, and the power usage is going down to 400. Okay, I'm gonna park and then I'll see you guys when I start driving a little bit more. Yeah, see you guys then. Alright, so we're down to 99%. You can see there's still 2 dots for the regenerative braking, and 352 watt-hours per mile for this drive, average 410. Alright, we'll see you guys later. Alright, you can see we're at 98%. 346 watt-hours per mile. We are driving somewhat slowish, like 50 or so, because traffic. Alright, so at that speed, getting slightly under 350 watt-hours per mile. Yeah, so keep that in mind. If you're driving like 65, 70, 80, you're going to get a lot less range. So yeah, that's so far. We drove 8 miles, average 368 watt-hours per mile. Alright, we're at 97% now. You can see 11 miles for this trip, 334 watt-hours per mile. Average 13 miles, 350 watt-hours per mile. Alright, it's going down because I'm driving efficiently. Alright, so now we're at 94%. The average for 19 miles is 369 watt-hours per mile. I did floor it a couple times just because, so that's why the average went up, but yeah, it should go down again as time goes on. Alright, so here you can see 93%. You can see the average dropped a lot to 226 watt-hours per mile after 3 miles. And then since the last charge, 350 watt-hours per mile. At that rating, we should get close to, what's that, 350 miles or so. There's 123 watt-hours per mile. So divide that by, I think I divided by 360 and got about 350 miles of range. So yeah, we should be getting, if we drive all city and drive very efficient, we should get beyond what Tesla quoted, which this model with these tires I think was like 314 or something. With the road tires it's 340. So yeah, we'll continue driving. But again, there's that drain from the Sentry mode, so don't forget that. If you're leaving the car sitting for a long time parked, you're gonna lose a lot of percentage. When I had this car with the Midnight Garage that was making the little metal plates for the side view mirrors, they had my car for 4 days and it dropped like about 30-40% almost. So that's pretty crazy. But I don't know, the truck kept saying it was left unlocked, so maybe that had something to do with it, but I'm not sure. Alright, you can see down to 93%. Used 22 miles since the last charge, 8 kilowatt hours, 348 watt-hours per mile. Current drive 3 miles, 13 minutes, took 237 watt-hours per mile. Alright, you can see I'm at 81% right now. I just started driving, so the watt-hours per mile was high and then it dropped pretty quick. but you can see the average is 333 watt hours per mile, 59 miles driven, 19 kilowatt hours used. Alright, there's too much reflection glare, so here you can see current drive 2 miles, 9 minutes, 332 watt hours per mile. Since charged 60 miles, took 20 kilowatt hours, 332 watt hours per mile. Alright, not bad. And also if you look at the full like driving time, 360 watt hours per mile average. So not bad, but I am driving like trying to drive super efficient. So if I wasn't, it'd probably be for sure over 450. So yeah. Alright, so as you can see, I parked, so current drive is saying 0, but anyway, 64 miles, 22 kilowatt hours, 338 watt hours per mile, so it went up a little bit. Alright, so here you can see we're at 77%, right? We drove, what's that, 69 miles? Alright, 23 kilowatt hours used, 335 watt hours per mile, right? Again, it will drain as time goes by because of the red circle sentry mode thing there. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes, but 69 miles for 23 kilowatt hours. The vampire drain on this thing is insane. Okay, overnight it was from 77%, it's now 72, and it's in this area where I don't think many people even walk around, so that's crazy. And it doesn't show that in the usage. Alright, so the since last charge, so you're gonna think you have a lot of range, but if you're using this over several days, you can see there's only one sentry mode event. If you're using this truck over several days and not plugging it in, you're gonna drain a lot of power. I'm gonna have to do a test with sentry mode off and see how much of a difference that makes. I'm not gonna do a range test with it off, but I'll leave it off and then see over like a couple days how much of a difference that makes. And yeah, we'll see, but let's finish this 100% range test first. Alright, we'll see you guys later. I let my friend drive it on a longer trip. She was driving around 55 miles an hour, and as you can see, after 27 miles, she was getting about 283 watt hours per mile. Alright, as you can see on the last drive, 306 watt hours per mile for 4 miles. Okay, this vampire drain thing is crazy. Look, we're at 42% now. But if you look at the thing, we only drove 150 miles, so we should be at more than 50%, especially since we're driving so efficient. All right, we should be getting like close to 400 miles, I think, with this, because there's 123 kilowatt hours. So do 123,000 divided by 324. Let me see. So with these numbers, we should be getting close to 379, a little over 379 miles of range if there was no vampire drain and all of that. It also counts like, it doesn't show anything. This is only if you're driving. It doesn't show like if you're just sitting there leaving the AC on and all of that. But the vampire drain from it just sitting overnight doing nothing, it uses a lot of power. All right, so hopefully they fix that soon, because it uses more than the Model Y and it has a bigger battery, so it makes no sense that it uses more percent. I think they're probably using the data to train the neural networks or something so that it can do the FSD, since right now it doesn't have that ability. So yeah, we'll continue this test and get it closer to 0. I don't know if I'm going to go completely to 0 because I'm probably going to need to charge beforehand, but we'll see. Right, it's at 17% now. You can see 363 watt hours per mile to drive the last 12 miles. 326 watt hours per mile average, 230 miles traveled so far. So in theory, we should be able to get at least 34 more miles, like minimum. So definitely over 250, and that's with multiple days of that vampire drain. So for sure, we should be able to get over 300 miles of range if we were to just continue driving and not having it overnight just parked. All right, I'm gonna charge a tiny bit, probably not much, maybe 1 kilowatt, but yeah, all right, we got. All right, so it looks like we got 2.75, 2.28 kilowatt hours now. Let's unplug. That was just a quick charge. All right, so we're at 19% now from that little bit of charging, and I guess it reset all of that. That sucks. Now we don't know what the whole thing is. Anyways, I guess I'm just gonna charge it anyways, and we'll see. Alright, so it's showing this. Plan your next charge. You're almost too far from known charging locations. So it's warning me because we're at 5% and you can see we did 12 miles in 24 minutes, 258 watt hours per mile. Since the last charge that I charged up that little over 2,000 watt hours or whatever, yeah, we got another 44 miles out of it. And if that's accurate, we should be able to get at least another 15 miles. I've seen people drive really far on 0%. I'm not going to push it to that. Once I hit 0, I'm probably just going to plug it in, because I don't want to have to deal with a dead car, and then I don't know if I'll be able to open the charger and stuff, and I gotta go places tomorrow. So yeah, we'll see. I'll maybe drive it to 0, and then we'll see what happens. Alright, I got open the door and it changed the message here. Battery very low. Vehicle consumes battery power while idle. Charge now to ensure your vehicle will start and avoid potential battery damage. Alright, we recommend charging now. And yeah, I'm gonna go plug it in real soon. I just have to drop off some stuff at home because the customer gave me a computer and I can't leave it in the car. So I'll be back. We'll also do like an acceleration test. Now we have 5%. I don't have a thing to test how long it takes to go 0 to 60, but I'll floor it real quick. Maybe just go on the freeway real quick, go in a circle, and then I guess from the recording you can see how fast the timer goes, the counter in seconds on the video, and you can kind of get a rough estimate of how long it takes to go 0 to 60. Alright, see you guys then. Alright, you can see right now we're at 4%. We just started, showing no information here right now. And again, I'm gonna go to the freeway entrance and then we're gonna just floor it one time. We're at 4%, so yeah, we'll see what happens here. Alright, I'll see you guys when I get to that stop. One thing to take note of in this test, most of the driving was at around, any freeway driving was around 55 miles per hour or so, 60 to 55, sometimes slower, especially if we're doing city driving. Obviously we're not doing 55 miles an hour, but any like high speed, like freeway, highway kind of things, tried to keep it around 55 to 60, most of the time closer to 55. So with that speed, it looks like you can actually get close to 400 miles of range in this truck, assuming you don't leave it overnight to have vampire drain. If you're doing like a really long road trip and you're going around 55 miles an hour, you should be able to get close to 400 miles of range out of this thing. So keep that in mind, though it is usually faster to drive faster, drain the battery quicker, and then just charge up at the next stop. But if you're trying to make it to another stop that's somewhat close and you want to stretch it as far as possible, you can get close to, it looks like close to 400 miles of charge on this thing, assuming the battery actually is 123 kilowatt hours and you get to use that full amount. I don't know. Alright, so right now there's no car behind me, so I'm going to slow down to a stop and then I'm going to floor it. Ready? We got 4%, and I'm just going to take the exit. Here we go. 0, go. Oh my god, it even skipped a little bit. There's 60. Alright, so I felt the tires, like, I don't know if it was the tires that took a little time to grip or all the stuff in, I think it was the stuff in my trunk that just, in the bed, that just slid back because a lot of the stuff wasn't completely down. So that probably affected the 0 to 60 time a little, but it was still pretty powerful, the launch. 4% battery charge, okay? So if you're low on charge, you don't really need to worry too much. You have plenty of pickup power. Pickup, yeah, it's a pickup truck, but yeah. All right, so yeah, don't worry if you're low on charge. You have plenty juice to like accelerate if you need to. But yeah, you don't want to do that too much because it uses a lot more power. Right now it's showing 418 watt hours per mile, which is actually surprising. I don't know if it's going to all of a sudden spike up. Oh no, it's actually going down. So that's not bad considering I floored it. So yeah, keep that in mind. I'm not going to supercharge the truck because a lot of people already did test supercharging, and yeah, I can charge nearby for about 16 cents a kilowatt hour. The only problem is I need to unplug it after every 4 hours to plug it back in, or less than 4 hours. But supercharging, it costs me at the cheapest right now, I think 23 cents a kilowatt hour from midnight until 4 a.m. And yeah, those are the times where Tesla dings you for driving late at night. It's kind of silly how they say, hey, you get cheaper electricity, but we're gonna mess up your insurance rates by introducing this scoring system where if you're going late at night to move your car around, that it's considered unsafe driving. I mean, most of my driving before, I've always done late night driving. To me, it's safer at night. You can see around blind corners because people's lights are on. Also, there's usually less cars on the road to crash into. You're not going to get in an accident as easily. So I don't know why nighttime driving, maybe they assume everybody's tired at that time. But when I drive at night, I'm a night person. I like to stay up late. So it's weird that they punish people for driving late at night. Luckily in California, they're not allowed to use the safety score to change your insurance rates, so I'm not affected by that. But yeah, the other thing I notice is the forward collision warning. It gets set off like so many false positives. If you're turning right and a car is parked on the or if you're turning left and a car is parked on the shoulder into that turn, the thing thinks that you're going to crash into that car. And if you're turning right and there's a car on the left shoulder and it thinks your trajectory is going to like smash into the car, even if you're like slightly turning or getting ready to turn, the thing will beep at you and be like, oh yeah, you were going to crash into that. So it's kind of annoying. Luckily I don't get dinged by that in insurance, but it sucks because my safety score is like below 90 now because so many false positives, and this truck gets those false positives more than the Model Y did. So it's pretty crazy. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna charge. I'll see you guys later. It's 4%. I'm not gonna do the 0% test because I actually have a trip tomorrow, so maybe I'll run it down to 0 eventually someday. But other people did that test, so yeah, I mean, I think it's 123 kilowatt hours. There is charging inefficiencies, so you don't get full 100% of what the thing puts out because there are losses. So keep that in mind. And also it's going to be draining power. So actually it should technically use more than 123 kilowatt hours because it's going to take some energy to, give off heat and other things. Anyways, telling me to charge now. Okay, so I'm gonna charge and I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna have to do I have time for maybe 2.5 4-hour charges before I gotta go. So I'm only gonna gain probably about 50%, so I'll probably be at 55% or so by the time I leave for my thing tomorrow. But yeah, with these level 2 chargers, the slower ones, this one does like 6 point something kilowatt hours. It would take like 20 hours to completely charge this from 0 because it takes almost about an hour for every 20%, maybe a little bit more than an hour for every 20%. So yeah, that's my experience for this, draining low. Hopefully you guys can do the math here to keep this. And yeah, but basically 46 miles, okay. And this, we get about on the low end, if I'm driving inefficient, I'll get at least 2 miles per percent. If I'm driving it efficiently, I can get probably 3, close to 4 miles. So I would consider this as at least 12 miles of range left. Although a lot of people get a lot of extra range on the 0%, so keep that in mind. All right, so that's pretty much it. I don't have enough charge for Sentry mode, so yeah, I'm probably gonna leave Sentry mode off because I don't know if it's Sentry mode that's draining it a lot or just Tesla sending data for it to teach the neural network stuff. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's taking all the USB data out and sending it somewhere. I wonder if I pull the USB drive out, honestly, if that's gonna give it a lot more. I think someone said that the USB is pulling a lot of data. So I'm gonna pull the USB drive out. Okay. And we're going to see, because I think what's happening is Tesla is trying to use that data. So the thing is in the glove box. It's really hard to even see, but there's a hole there. There you go. So I'm going to pull that out. So hopefully no one does anything to my car now because I don't have any more data storage. And yeah, so we're going to see what happens. But I feel like that USB, Tesla is pulling data to try and teach the neural networks. So I'm going to pull the USB out, leave it out, and we'll see. I think I remember hearing something about the USB doing that. I don't remember if that was for the Cybertruck or for the other cars as well. But yeah, this might make it charge faster. We'll see, because yeah, otherwise it uses a lot of power just sending data out. All right, see you guys later. Okay, so according to the truck, charging to 100% will take 19 hours and 5 minutes. So like I said, basically 20 hours. Okay, and it would probably actually take longer than that because of the vampire drain. But I pulled the USB out, so we'll see. I don't plan to charge to 100. You actually don't want to charge to 100%. Unless you're just need that slight bit of extra range. Again, normally you want to charge just to 80. So to charge to 80%, let's see what it says. It should take off, that's 20%, so it should take off about 4 hours. So basically 15 hours. Let's see if it changes. And there you go, 14 hours, 40 minutes. Yep, there you go. So basically an hour for every 20%. And that's because this charger's not even that fast. You see, it's not even doing the 240 volts like it should. It's only doing 205, but 30 amps, so we get about 6 kilowatt hours, right? Slightly over 6 kilowatt hours. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, we got 667 miles. I missed it at 666. Sorry guys. But there you go. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.